Before I move on in talking about shift track, I'd like to explain a little bit more about clear track. One thing I might not have made entirely clear is that when you use clear track, it deletes all of the synthesizer data as well as the triggered steps. So to demonstrate this, what I'm going to do is trigger a hit in BAM0 by pressing X, and then I'm going to change the frequency of this hit to some higher value, 821 in this case. So if I push X and left trigger to delete that hit, and then I re-trigger it again, you can see that the frequency is still 821. However, if I go into the menu system and use clear track, so I push start and then down on the D-pad to select track, then up on the D-pad to get to clear track and select that, and select BAM0, and set the start and end steps to be the beginning and end of the loop, and confirm that I want to delete all that. If I push X again, you can see the frequency is now 480, not 821. So clear track deletes everything associated with the track, not just the triggered steps. All right, so moving on, now I'm going to talk about shift track. Shift track is used to move the trig, vol, and synthesizer data in a track. Shift track uses the current selected step as a starting point for the shifted data. The shift amount can be either positive or negative to allow you to shift data to the right or the left. You can also choose to keep the original trigger and synthesis data in place, or simply move all triggered steps, clearing the data at their original location. Before I use shift track, I'm going to trigger a few steps in BAM0. So I'm going to trigger at step 0, step 8, step 16, and step 24. And I'm going to change the frequency at steps 16 and 24. Alright, and now I'm going to make step 16 the active step in BAM0, and I'm going to select track and then shift track. Now, the shift step determines how far you shift to the right or the left. Positive value shift to the right, negative value shift to the left. You can use either the analog or digital pad to control this. So if you bring the analog pad down, it goes from 0 down to negative numbers. So I'm going to set this to 4. Now you push X to select, and then it asks if you want to keep the original hits in place. And in this case, I will do that. So push up on the D-pad and press X. And now you can see that there are 2 extra hits in this track. And those are at steps 20 and step 28. Now the frequency from step 16 was placed in step 20, and the frequency at step 28 was taken from step 24. So shift track copies all the synthesizer data as well as the trigger points when doing the shifting. Now, one way that this is useful is for creating delay style effects. What you would do is create a song with multiple copies of the same track you want to delay. You would then copy the source track to the destination tracks. Finally, select the copy tracks, select the number of steps to delay, and you're done. You can also try modifying the pan values or the synthesizer parameter values to make a more interesting delay type sound. Okay, so the next thing under track is fill track. And this is used to automatically fill steps with trig, vol, and synthesizer data. Before using fill track, make sure the selected step in the sequencer has a non-zero value for trig. Otherwise, selecting fill track exit back to the step sequencer. After selecting fill track, you'll set the step size. So I'm going to go to step 16 in this case, press start, push down on the D-pad, select track, push up to get to fill track, select this. So now you can use the analog or digital pad for selecting the fill step. I'll set the fill step to 6. So now to select this, you push X. And you can see that the every 6th note is filled in, and all the synthesizer data is taken from step 16 and put into those other steps after it. So the most common reason I use this function is to fill a large number of sequential steps with control-only steps. These are the orange-filled steps that are created by holding X and pressing up or down on a blue-filled box. Control-only steps let you change synthesizer parameters without retriggering the output envelope. This is used to create sounds that evolve, such as a filter where the cutoff frequency changes over time. What I would do to make this happen is create a blue-triggered step where I want the pad to start, and then fill in every other step after it with orange-filled control steps by using fill track and setting the fill step to 1. I would then modify the filter frequency and cutoff for each of the non-triggered steps within the synth menu system. And I'll show you how to change the synthesizer parameters in a little bit.